मैं मसरत मिसबा हूँ. देखते रहिए Toronto 360 TV.
Going to talk to the founder and the members of this organization. So first of all, thank you very much for organizing this beautiful show here, the event, and I know how much it takes to get something like this going. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
We are humble. Thank you so much for coming and attending this event, because this event means a lot for Humvee, because we are heading towards a better step to support Musrat Misbah's Smile Again Foundation back home in Pakistan. So my name is Sadia Khalid, as you all know, and I run Humvee organization. I'm an executive director of the organization, and we have 5 board members of board of directors. One of them is sitting, but my 2 members are sitting on the other table, which I should recognize. I must recognize and acknowledge their support for me, Khushnigar Sayyed and Uruba and Babar. These are my backbones, and I'm nothing without them. So thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Hiya Naeem, and I'm from Karachi, Pakistan. My background is textile designing, and when I came here from Dubai, so I just feel that my field, I have to change it in a second career as an art and craft teacher. So I did that job, and right now I am with Humvee and Sadia Khalid. So I'm working with them.
Sadia, why don't you please help us understand, put things in perspective. What is the purpose of this Humvee organization? And are you focusing on just the Canadian causes or international causes? What is the purpose?
Actually, Humvee started in 2017. We registered our organization, and since then we are working for South Asian community, and that was the main purpose. But we are open for anyone, not really South Asian, but because I am from South Asian background and I know my culture and custom very well, and that's why we started it. But let me say, when we started it, it was just because we wanted to do something for the community, some productive work for the community. But when we started working and interacting with our community, we realized that there is a lot of work to be done in South Asian community. There are very too much stigmas, taboos are still there, and since 2015 we are struggling, and we can't believe that it's 2019 and we are facing domestic violence and abuse in 2019. So we think we started working to break the taboo, but we are, number one, there are 3 purposes of our organization. Number 1 is obviously the advocacy. We create awareness about domestic violence and abuse in South Asian community. Number 2 is to provide services like counseling. We provide counseling to our clients, to the victims, which is free. Third is to provide them, to help them in rehabilitation. And we have so far, out of 7, we have managed to rehabilitate 4 women in South Asian community who have the South Asian background, in terms of psychological help, in terms of financial and legal, all 3 areas. And how we are doing that, don't ask.
So Tahiya, question to you is, what was the key reason to partner with Dipilek's Smile Again organization for this fundraiser?
First of all, Masarat ma'am is a role model for me, because everyone knows that she has done a lot for acid burn victims, and this issue is not heard in any country, just like in Pakistan, right? And we just work for South Asian communities, and Masarat Misbah done very well, and they support them very well. So that's how I feel that as a human being, or as being a woman, I feel the pain and that domestic violence, because I said that this form, like acid attacks, are a worst form of domestic violence, right? So why don't we raise our voice over here? Because she registered her organization in Pakistan, UK, and USA, but not in Canada. So I feel that we have to do something. So I just discussed with Sadia about this initiative, and she said, yes, we have to do that because it's also related to Humvee, because this is like domestic violence and abuse. So that's how we connect Masarat Misbah and Sadia Khalid. So I would like to thank Humvee, Sadia Khalid, and all our other my board of directors, just like Uruba, Khushnigar, and Babar, because they accepted my request and they worked hard for this event as well.
And that day finally came.
Exactly.
We are welcoming Masarat Misbah, who's the pride of Pakistan.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your effort.
I am Rima Khan, an empowered Pakistani. So are they. ये सिर्फ ताकत नहीं, दूसरों का दुख दूर करने की ऐसा मुमकिन किया स्माइल अगेन के साथ। मैं सर्वाइवर हूँ और एक ब्यूटिशियन।
मैं बाहुनर हूँ, आज जो उठती हूँ डीएसएफ की वजह से हूँ। थैंक यू डीएसएफ।
मैं एक बाहिम्मत माँ हूँ, मुझे ये हौसला स्माइल अगेन प्रोविजन ने दिया है। मुझे वो लोगों को खूबसूरत बनाने का हुनर डीएसएफ ने दिया है।
ब्लैक स्माइल अगेन फाउंडेशन हमारा मुफ्त इलाज करवा रहा है।
अब हम अपने हाथों से सब काम कर सकते हैं।
Because he wants me to do this for his.
Assalamu alaikum.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम। बहुत शुक्रिया आप सब लोगों का। Thank you very much for being here and for supporting a cause which is so near and dear to my heart. Thank you.
So why don't you please tell us a bit more about yourself? Where are you from, your family, so we can understand that you're also one like human being?
Yes, I think so. Okay, ji, I am Masarat Misbah, and I've been in the field of beauty for the last 40 years. It's a long time. When I started, I was a single parent at that time, very young, and my parents gave me an option of continuing with my studies or whatever I wanted to do. I said, no, Daddy ji, मैं अपना काम खुद करना चाहती हूँ, मैं अपने बच्चों को पालना चाहती हूँ. So it was maybe 17 and a half years old when I started my business, of course with the help and support of my parents, my family. And then there was no looking back, but there's always an incident that even at that time, that is way back in 1990, women working in our society was a bit difficult. People would not look at them kindly, and especially certain businesses which were not really, actually they were looked down upon, and being beautician was one of them. I got my vocational training and education from abroad, and when I came back, my family, invested in a salon for me, and I used to drop my children to the school and would, open up my salon 8:30 in the morning. Nobody would be up and about at that time, and I remember that there was this lady. When I went to introduce myself, she actually banged the door on me and said, "Now, your kind of women are going to spoil my whole atmosphere, my mohalla, mera neighborhood, and don't even come near me." And I was like taken aback. I was young. I was not expecting, this kind of attitude. And so I said, okay, fine. And in the morning when I used to walk up to open my salon, this lady would be coming down, going maybe to her office and all, and I would say, "Assalamu alaikum," and she would go, she was very unhappy with me. And after 3 years of every day asking her to, I would say "Assalamu alaikum," and she would refuse to answer me back. 3 years afterwards, she walked into my office, and she says, "Oh, so you are educated. You have got certificates and all." I said, "Gee, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? And how come I see you?" Kehti, "Well, this is my daughter, and train her and teach her to be what you are." And that was actually my first hurdle that I actually overcome. And then there was no looking back. I started empowering women at that time when these words were not even invented. I also had no idea what empowerment meant. The word empowerment was, it was not there, or entrepreneurship or businesses for women. It was just that I got education, trained abroad, and the girls who were working in the salons were not actually educated enough and not trained enough. So I started training them. And now, alhamdulillah, 40 years down the lane, we've got 70 salons all over Pakistan. And in every
70
salon,
salons.
And in every salon, we've got on an average 35 to 40 girls working there. And they're from very humble background, maybe lower middle classes. Behtareen bachchiyan. They are qualified, they're trained, and they are amazingly empowered women. For me, they are just there and, on their own feet.
So Mike and Rick and Amber, 3,000 plus employment opportunities created by her saloon, 70 branches across Pakistan. So that is definitely an awesome thing. And we'll talk about it, how the further employment opportunities were created for people, those who are victim of acid burn attacks. So we'll talk about it. So next one is how this journey started from a successful beautician to somebody who's now serving the humanity. How this all started?
I would say that God, Allah Ta'ala, gives you opportunities to help. It's up to us how much we would like to help and how little we would like to help. The opportunities are there for you, and whatever, alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has given you, we should always be grateful and thankful to Him. Because मैं ये समझती हूँ कि जो कुछ उसने हमें नवाज दिया है, वो हम इस काबिल नहीं हैं. और जितना हम शुक्र अदा करें, वो कम है. इतना शुक्र अदा करें हर वक्त कि आपकी ज़ुबान जो है वो लकड़ी की भी तरह खुश्क हो जाए, तो वो कभी कम है. So, let's be very, very grateful to Allah for all that He has given us. So it was one of these days. I am very passionate about my work. I am the first one to enter my salon and last one to leave also, even today. Now, when I say even today, please do not look at my gray hair. I've colored them. So I was leaving my salon, and as I was about to leave, this girl walked in. She was all clad up in her burqa, in a veil. Her face was covered, and I could see that she's from a humble background because uski chaple bhi tooti phooti si thi. And then she said to me, please help me. Well, she didn't use word please, she said help me. And I said to her, मतलब मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा, मुझे लगा ये कैसी बदतमीजी से बात करे. So I said to her, okay, please come tomorrow, and I thought that maybe she's there for me to maybe help her financially. And she says, no, आप जो इतनी बड़ी beautician बनी फिरती है, मुझे ठीक करिए. And she removed her veil, and in front of me was a girl without a face. It was a girl who had actually lost one eye. There was a hole instead of her nose. Her chin and neck were contractured. This hand was okay, but her this side was really badly affected. And you believe me that this was the first time that I actually encountered an acid attack victim. I was standing and I sat down because I thought there was no life left in my legs. I just sat down, very wobbly. And then I asked her, I said, what has happened to you? And she said, somebody has thrown acid, and you claim to be the beautician, so you make me look good. And so it took me a while. I went into my office, pani shani pee ke, then I came out and I said, okay, let me help you. And I started calling my colleagues, my friends, my clients' husbands who were doctors. Unfortunately, at that time, it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening. Most of the people wouldn't pick up the phone. Or if the doctors were busy maybe in their private clinics, and some of them who did answer me back said that please bring her tomorrow. So I told her, I said, Acha solo subah, when I come in the morning, I'll take you there. And she says, okay. And I said, you can leave now. And she says, where do I go? And I said, I'm sorry. And she says, no, you help me, give me a shelter now. I have to admit that I regret even this today, that I was very frightened also. And मेरी बहुत सोच छोटी थी. I thought कि पता नहीं इसके पीछे कौन लोग आगे होंगे, मैं इसको घर नहीं ले जा सकती. I didn't have the gut to actually take her home. So I said, okay, you stay here. And I went back, and that was the turning point in my life. That day when I went back home, मैंने अल्लाह ताला से माफ़ी मांगी, गिड़गिड़ा के. I was like, why did I not see all these things before? It was not that these kind of issues or incidents I've never heard, read, or seen, but I would be like, oh my God, this is really bad. And khatam, that was the day when my everything changed for me. मैंने जहाँ अल्लाह ताला से माफ़ी मांगी for not looking into these matters. At the same time, I actually thank God also for Him to be providing me all that He has given me, because मैं इस काबिल ही नहीं हूँ, ना पहले थी ना आज हूँ. लेकिन मुझे ये पता है कि now that God has given me an opportunity to help, I have to help her, and I could afford to help her. And it was only after 15-20 days that I realized that if I could help one girl, maybe I can help some more girls. And I placed an ad in the newspaper saying that if you're an acid or kerosene oil burnt victim, come to Deplex on such and such date. 42 girls walked in that day. 42 girls, and that day my legs were wobbly because I couldn't take it. And that particular day, I just, sat down again, because I thought, God, I've asked for few girls, but this is too many, it was difficult for me to. But then Allah Ta'ala says कि वो आपको उतना ही वज़न देता है जितना आप सहार सकते हैं. You can only, He will just give you ample and enough for you to take forward the way or the job that He's given you. So I started, and I had no idea, but I started filing, registering them. And then in 2005, I registered my organization as a non-profit NGO organization. And now since 2005, although I started in 2003, but since 2005 till today, we have got more than 760 girls registered with us, victims of acid and kerosene oil, women, children, girls, and some men also. But and some accidental cases also, because I realized that some of the incidents which have taken place accidentally, the men or the boys were given treatment. They were taken to the hospitals, and even after the treatments, they would still get a job. They would still have a life to live. But the girls, because they are, bachiyan, betiyan, so they were not given the right kind of treatments or opportunities, which is again a human rights violation. So, so we have started taking in accidental cases, especially the young children, because we feel that this is also something which is जो neglect करते हैं. They have been neglected. They have been left to rot like vegetables just because they are born gender biased हमारी society, and so we we have to help them, and no matter where they're from.
Thank you so much for this much details around 750 victims have been cured.
More than
750 since 2005 and all the way up to 2019. क्या बात है. देखिए, होता ये है कि अल्लाह तबारक व तआला आपको चुनता है ऐसे कामों के लिए. अगर आप ख़ुद से करना चाहें तो करके देख लें. अगर अल्लाह की रज़ा शामिल नहीं होगी और आपकी इंटेंशंस दुरुस्त नहीं होंगी तो आप 2 कदम चल के लड़खड़ा जाएंगे, आप गिर जाएंगे. लेकिन अल्लाह ताला ने इनको ये हिम्मत दी, ये सलाहियत दी, और इनसे वो काम लिया कि जो मैं और आप सिर्फ घर बैठ के सोच ही सकते हैं. तो अल्लाह ताला आपको मज़ीद बरकत अता करे और आपके अंदर मज़ीद जज्बा जो है वो पैदा करे. So you're a successful businesswoman. You just mentioned that you've got 70 branches across Pakistan. So now, how is your time divided between business and this Diplex Smile Again Foundation?
Okay, so I think my business is on autopilot now because of my daughter. She's there, and she takes care of the business, day-to-day running of the salon. And things change. I mean, it is so strange that little young girl who was all the time hovering around me now stands up and says, "Amma, you don't know anything. Let me handle this." And I say, "Oh my God, ये भी वक्त आएगा मेरे ऊपर." And so So most of my time is now for my girls, for my victims. I
What's
wish
the
they
ratio?
Ratio, I wish there were 38 hours in a day. So I
Wow.
could be spending more time with them.
So basically it's 90, 10, maybe perhaps 90% on the foundation.
Yeah, I mean, I only go home to sleep or eat. Otherwise, I am with them. Wherever I
They
could
need you.
reach them, need me, I go there.
So you did mention 700 plus victims have been cured. I think people want to know here, what are the top two reasons why it's happening? Why these women are being treated like this?
Okay, so lack of education, lack of knowledge about a religion also. But the reason that they throw acid is when a young girl refuses to marry a man, or if she is not wanting to marry. Secondly, dowry. Thirdly, the female childbirth. Then inheritance, and then of course enmity. But the most unfortunate thing is that these are all the things which has been addressed in our religion, in Quran, and by our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that a woman can marry her, according to her wishes. A woman can get out of a unhappy marriage by taking khula. A girl child is a rahmat, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. There is a whole ayah, surah about law of inheritance, and of course, jihez ki lanat is not there. So this is, I think, to me, it is more about education nahi hai, talim nahi hai, and the right knowledge about the religion.
Is there any restriction your foundation has when somebody comes to you, has to be a Muslim, has to be Pakistani?
No.
How you deal with that?
No. We take these girls without any distinction of caste, creed, or religion. We've got Hindu girls who've gone through the same kind of violence. We've got Christian girls, again, the same kind of violence. And of course, Muslims are there, so we have got more there, Muslim girls.
Very good. And people also want to know how these people reaches to you. I mean, what is the procedure? Because they're already in so much deep trouble. How they find you?
See, unfortunately, there are so many unreported cases जिसमें मैं पहुंच नहीं पाती हूँ. There are places where I can't go or I haven't heard about it. The only way that I get to know about these incidents is through media, print media, television media is playing a very important role for me. It becomes a breaking news for them, but it is never a follow-up news for any of the media. But that's fine, because as long as I know where these girls are, I go there, get in touch with them, and then from there onwards, we start their medical treatments. We bring them to the nearest best or better facility, medical facility. There are times when they are actually burnt in very remote villages. By the time they are taken to the nearest medical help and support, they don't survive.
They don't survive. So the other thing is this the only women are being victim of such attacks, or there are men too?
Very recently, there are some men also, young boys also, but acid is thrown by boys only. Maybe gang wars, or maybe again the same, a person who's interested in one girl and the other person is also interested. So, this is more of an enmity. Yeah, but not so many cases. We have more accidental cases for men and boys working in maybe factories and boilers, or maybe carburetors of the cars.
Okay. Do you get any government or international grants to serve the victims?
No.
Just no? Really nothing?
No, I get a lot of appreciation. They call me for every conference that they're holding against violence against women. They give me awards, they give me medals, and they always say, "Aapne jannat mein ghar bana liya hai." And I always say, please put one brick for that house, which will help you also. But
जन्नत में घर तो बना लिया, एक पौधा आप भी लगाते जाएं.
it's like, but I'm sure things would change. I know that women-based issues are not a priority for any of our government before or even today, because there's a lot more which is maybe more important to them. But to me, even if it is one woman who's been burnt or thrown acid, it should not be happening. So things would change, I know, inshallah.
Inshallah. Just last few questions and then we'll take few questions from the audience here. So there are hospitals in Pakistan, those who offer free treatment, and some of them have networks across Pakistan. Don't you have any advantage of those hospitals to cut cost?
So government hospitals are supposed to treat these victims free of cost, but unfortunately this doesn't happen. The first aid or emergency is of course there, but they wait for the police to come and take their reporting, and then they start the treatment, which is something that I can't understand, and I keep fighting with them. But then when I make a payment to them, and then they immediately start their operations. So it's like understandable also. Maybe there are many patients coming from all walks of life, but then as soon as the amount is paid to them, the operation theater is free, the OT staff is ready, the doctors are there. But I must say that doctors have been very kind to me. They do not charge for their fees, but they have, I guess, उनकी कुछ बंदिश होती होगी hospitals के अंदर, इसलिए they give us a rebated amount also for the surgeries, but every single patient or victim which has been treated already or is being treated, we have to pay them so that they can get quick
speedy treatment. It's a matter of saving life.
Ji.
Okay, so do you get any security threats by doing this?
Yes, I do. Whenever a victim has been taken to the nearest hospital, sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the times girls stay in my house only because we don't have shelter facilities also. So while they're being treated, they stay in my house. While they're being given some kind of skill, they stay in my house, but not all of them at all time. I can accommodate around 7, 6, 8 girls. But then I do get threatening calls from the perpetrators themselves. Do not take them to the police. Do not take them, show them the way to the lawyer. And I say, नहीं जी बेटे, मैं तो सिर्फ इलाज कर रही हूँ. I'm only treating them. So if you're not happy, I can stop the इलाज also. Or sometimes I get letters from them, threatening letters, bullet in my name written on it, things like that. But initially, I used to get really frightened. Not frightened, I would be like, what to do now? But then I realized that I am doing something for the humanity, for my Allah, and I'm sure, He will provide me with all the safety and security because He wants me to do this for His creation.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Zabardast. Just one last question from you, and if you can briefly address this. What is your big dream for Dipilix Ismail Again Foundation?
First of all, I think this menace and this tazab, gardi, and this should stop. This should end. But maybe not in my lifetime. But whatever and how many girls that I have, as many girls that I have, I would like to give them the bestest of the facilities for them to live. Because if they have survived, they should live happily. We should accept them. We should help them to live normally like normal human beings. There should be facilities for them. There should be training programs that I do with them, jobs for them. ये मुझे पता है far-fetched ideas, ख्वाब है मेरे, लेकिन ये पूरे होंगे. Maybe a shelter, where I want to have every single moment of life with them. And the shelter is not there. Now, if there's a shelter where they could stay, live, have a small room of their own.
Social activities.
Social activities, they're learning, and they're very resilient, brave girls. I mean, it's unbelievable. that once they get this confidence that now they are surviving and they are started earning. Every girl who works in my salon, minimum wages उसको 15,000 rupees मिलते हैं, which is ample for them. They're not asking for महल and they're not asking for, you know, कोई बहुत extra चीज़ें नहीं मिलती, simple चीज़ें. I take them out for lunch at times and say क्या खाओगी? McDonald's and you know, or KFC. What would you like to be trained into? Beautician. I mean, they have lost their beauty, but they still have the beauty in them, you know. So I think it's my dream would be to make each one of them who are with me to have a beautiful, happy, healthy life. And of course, this menace should be stopped from the society, inshallah.
Awesome. Very good. I think ये मेरे लिए और जितने लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं हमारे लिए बड़े एजाज़ की बात है. It's an honor for us to be in your company. You know, especially for me, asking you questions. I mean, it's really an honor for me, and obviously people are hearing your thoughts. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया एक मरतबा फिर मुसर्रत मिसबा साहिबा के लिए बहुत सारी तालियाँ.
I'm the current chair of the Women's Caucus as well. A lot of the work that I do in international human rights revolves around women, revolves around humanity, and so by definition, it revolves around the rights of women across the world.
स्माइल अगेन फाउंडेशन की रूह रहमा मुसर्रत मिसबा साहब हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं. आज हम वी के ज़ेर एहतमाम एक फ़ंड रेजिंग का एहतमाम किया गया था. कैसा आपको लगा? जो आपके जहन में था कॉन्सेप्ट वैसा हुआ, ज़्यादा हुआ, कम हुआ?
बहुत ज़्यादा हुआ और मैं शुक्रगुज़ार हूँ हम वी की. कैनेडियन जो हमारे पाकिस्तानी और एशियन ममालिक के लोग थे जिन्होंने सपोर्ट किया, पार्टिसिपेट किया, उन सब का भी शुक्रिया, क्योंकि एक ऐसा कॉज़ है जिसमें हर कोई जो है वो अपना अपना हिस्सा डालना चाहता है और उनके हिस्से से ज़ाहिर हो रहा है कि वो आइंदा भी इसको कंटिन्यू करेंगे और इंशाल्लाह आइंदा भी एक बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम होगा.
तो आपने ये भी सोचा हम भी तो इस किस्म के ख़ास तौर पर ख़वातीन के लिए बहुत वो काम कर रही है, तो इसको कंटिन्यू करें, कोई ऐसा सिस्टम आप बना दें जैसे मुख्तलिफ़ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, NGOs हैं, वो एनुअली या क्वार्टरली इस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स करती हैं या मोटिवेशन करती हैं, रमज़ान हो, ईद हो, तो इस किस्म का कोई प्लान आपने सोचा है?
जी, मैंने तो ये सोचा है कि साल में एक दफ़ा अगर हम कोई मुनासिब जो भी वक्त हो, रमज़ानों से पहले करें, क्योंकि लोग रमज़ानों में मसरूफ़ हो जाते हैं, लेकिन अगर हम एक और प्रोजेक्ट जो है इस तरह से करें जिसमें हम अब जैसे हमने इस दफ़ा टारगेट किया था सर्जरीज़ का, अगली दफ़ा हम टारगेट करें कि इन बच्चियों को इनके छोटे छोटे बिजनेसेस खोल के देने हैं, उसके बाद इंशाल्लाह सो ऑन एंड सो फॉर्थ किसी के लिए शेल्टर का इंतज़ाम करें. तो ये तमाम जो डूएबल प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो इंशाल्लाह हो सकते हैं और अगर इसी तरह लोगों का रिस्पांस रहा तो कोई मुमकिन नहीं है कि हम ये काम नहीं कर सकते.
हमारे वैसे इकबाल साहब में एक्सपर्ट हो गए हैं डोनेशंस के हवाले से, फंड रेजिंग के हवाले से, तो इनके बारे में मैं चाहूँगा कुछ थोड़ा सा आपके.
मैं कहती हूँ कि उवैस ही की वजह से आज हम अपने टारगेट को अचीव कर सकें और जहाँ पे लोगों की कंट्रीब्यूशन थी वहाँ पे उवैस की सबसे बड़ी कंट्रीब्यूशन ये थी कि उन्होंने उनको मोटिवेट किया और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हम लोग अपनी सर्जरीज़ का जो टारगेट था उसके हदफ से हम आगे भी निकल गए।
थैंक यू वेरी मच, विश यू वेरी गुड लक। ये ऐसा काम है जो लोगों की नज़र में अभी नहीं है, आप इसके लिए काम कर रही हैं, अल्लाह आपको भी जज़ा देगा और हमें उम्मीद है कि इस तरह ये कारवां जो आपका चलता रहेगा और आप उन लोगों की खिदमत और मदद कर सकेंगी जिनके बारे में बहुत कम लोग सोचते हैं। बहुत शुक्रिया।
बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू।
हमवी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के ज़ेर एहतमाम आज मैपल बैंक्वेट हॉल में सागा में एक फ़ंड रेजिंग डिनर का एहतमाम किया गया था। हमवी ख़वातीन के हवाले से ख़ास तौर पर जो है उनके बहुत से प्रोग्राम्स यहाँ चलते हैं। अब इन्होंने पाकिस्तान में मसरत मिसबा साहबा की जो फाउंडेशन है, स्माइल अगेन फाउंडेशन, उसके लिए फ़ंड रेजिंग डिनर का एहतमाम किया था, जो कि तेज़ाब से जो जल जाती हैं ख़वातीन या मिट्टी के तेल से जिनको जला दिया जाता है, उनकी रिहेबिलिटेशन के लिए, उनकी सर्जरीज़ के लिए वहाँ पे काम करते हैं। और इस हवाले से अगर आप देखें तो ये बड़ा मुश्किल काम है। वो लोग जो हंसते मुस्कुराते चेहरों के साथ होते हैं, उन पे तेज़ाब जब डाल दिया जाए या केरोसिन ऑयल से जला दिया जाए तो बिल्कुल शक्ल उनकी बदल जाती है। उनकी सर्जरीज़ के लिए कई बार सर्जरीज़ करनी, एक नहीं कई सर्जरीज़ करनी पड़ती हैं। तो आज यहाँ पे टारगेट था 25,000 का, 50 सर्जरीज़ का। वैसे इकबाल साहब इसको कंडक्ट कर रहे थे, हमारे 2360 के जो हैं आप उन्हें अक्सर देखते हैं, उनके प्रोग्राम्स देखते हैं और फंड रेजिंग के हवाले से खासे वो मारूफ भी हैं। तो डबल आप कह लीजिए कि तकरीबन $50,000 जो हैं वो यहाँ पे कलेक्ट हुए। एक जो सर्जरी है उस पर अराउंड $500 जो हैं वो कॉस्ट आती है। तो 100 सर्जरीज़ के लिए यहाँ पे जो है डोनेशंस दी गई हैं, बड़ी कमेंडेबल है और हमें उम्मीद है कि इसी तरह से लोग जो हैं ये ख़ास ये कॉज, ये वो काज़ है जिस पर बहुत कम तवज्जो दी जाती है। तेज़ाबगर्दी का शिकार जो ख़वातीन हैं या मिट्टी के तेल से जल जाने वाली जो ख़वातीन हैं, उनके लिए बहुत कम काम हो रहा है और स्माइल अगेन फाउंडेशन इस तौर पर ख़ास तौर पर काम कर रही है। मसरत मिसबा साहब ने अपना मिशन बना लिया है। तो हम वैसे इकबाल साहब को हमवी को मुबारकबाद देते हैं कि बहुत सक्सेसफुल कंडक्ट जो है आज का फंड रेज़र, और उम्मीद करते हैं कि आइंदा भी लोग इस हवाले से, इस किस्म के प्रोग्राम्स के हवाले से जो है अपनी कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन जारी रखेंगे। मैपल बैंक्वेट हॉल में सागा से कैमरामैन साबर गाया के साथ अरशद भट्टी को दीजिए इजाज़त। अल्लाह हाफिज़ और सपुर्द मौला।